Your $2,000 sandblasting bill just became optional. That's the hook, and it's backed by chemistry your local body shop hopes you never learn, because a $2 kitchen ingredient dissolves rust that a $2,000 blasting cabinet physically cannot reach. Today you're getting the countdown that exposes exactly how this works, and by the end of this video you'll understand why every dollar you've ever spent chasing rust with grinders and abrasive media was a gamble you didn't need to take. Your wallet has been the victim of an industry that profits every time you assume expensive equals effective, and today that assumption ends. Number 10. The blasting cabinet trap costs you anywhere from $300 for a small rental unit to $2,000 for a full body shop treatment. And mechanics love handing you that estimate because it sounds thorough, professional, and permanent. But here's what they won't tell you standing at the counter. Your sandblaster only attacks what it can physically see and reach in a straight line, and every narrow pit, every threaded bolt hole, every seam along your frame rail keeps rust hiding exactly where the media can never touch it. That hidden rust doesn't disappear just because the surface looks clean. It keeps eating your metal from the inside while you drive around thinking you already solved the problem and paid good money to do it. Consumer Reports has flagged frame and underbody rust as one of the most expensive hidden failures on used vehicles in cold climate states, and once corrosion is embedded down inside a pit, mechanical abrasion alone will never fully save you no matter how many passes the shop runs. You walked in wanting a permanent fix and walked out with a temporary illusion dressed up as a solution. Your money bought you a surface job, not a solution, and that gap is exactly where round 2 of the repair bill is quietly growing. Number 9. A $2 jar of blackstrap molasses does something your sandblaster is physically incapable of doing. It dissolves rust chemically instead of scraping blindly at the surface. This is not some internet home remedy myth passed around a forum. It's a documented chelation reaction where organic acids inside the molasses bind directly to iron oxide molecules and pull that rust into solution as a soluble compound instead of leaving it lodged in the metal. Liquid follows gravity into every crevice, every thread root, every pit surface that blast media can never physically contact, no matter how skilled the operator is or how many hours you pay for. Owners restoring vintage frames, engine blocks, and cylinder heads report reaching corrosion buried inside oil galleries and water jackets that no blasting service in America can access at any price point. If you've been paying premium labor rates for a treatment that physically cannot finish the job it promised you, you've been financing an illusion one invoice at a time. The chemistry was sitting in your pantry the entire time your shop was billing you by the hour. Number 8. Most guides online get the dilution ratio dangerously wrong, and it's costing you days of wasted time you didn't budget for. Standard baking molasses diluted the same way as blackstrap performs 40 to 60% worse because it simply doesn't carry the concentration of chelating organic acids that blackstrap does after the deeper extraction process. That means your part sits in a weak, watered-down solution that barely touches the rust while you wait around for days convinced the chemistry failed you personally. Use the wrong grade at the wrong ratio and you'll talk yourself into believing this entire method is a scam. Then go crawling right back to that overpriced blasting cabinet with your tail between your legs. A 1:10 ratio only works correctly with true blackstrap, and if all you can find is standard molasses, you need a 1:7 ratio just to get in the same performance range. Get the ratio wrong once and you've paid for your own frustration in an entire wasted weekend that the correct $2 jar could have prevented. Number 7. Temperature is the difference between a 1-day fix and a 4-day nightmare that eats your entire weekend and half your patience. At room temperature around 70 degrees, you're looking at 48 to 72 hours of waiting on moderate rust, but bump that solution up to 110 degrees using nothing more than a slow cooker on the warm setting and you're done in under 16 hours. Skip this step and you'll be the guy standing in his garage on day 3 staring into a bucket, wondering why nothing's happening, burning vacation days on a job that should have been finished before your coffee even got cold on day 1. A hobbyist in Wisconsin who treats vintage tractor parts through brutal winters found that simply insulating his soaking container inside a closed cooler cut his treatment time by 30 to 40% compared to leaving it exposed in an unheated shop. Ignore the heat variable and you're the one paying in lost time, wasted trips to the garage, and a project that drags on far longer than it ever needed to. Number 6. Your container choice can silently sabotage everything you've done right up to this point without you ever noticing until it's too late. A metal bucket reacts with the mild acidity of your solution, sitting between a pH of 4 and 5.5, and slowly bleeds dissolved metal ions into your working mix over the course of the soak. Those stray ions compete directly with your rust for the limited chelating compounds in the solution, quietly weakening every future soak cycle you run in that same contaminated container. You could nail the ratio, nail the temperature, and nail the prep work, and still end up with a half-strength batch because you grabbed whatever bucket was sitting in the garage instead of a dedicated plastic bin. Watch the color too. Fresh solution runs dark brown, and a solution that's turning greenish and murky faster than expected is telling you it's already being robbed of its strength. Use the wrong container and you're paying full price in time and materials for a treatment running at half power the entire way through. Number 5. Skipping scale removal before your soak is the single biggest reason first-time users give up entirely and crawl back to sandblasting, convinced this method doesn't actually work. Loose rust scale sitting detached on the surface still eats up your solution's chelating capacity before it ever reaches the bonded rust hiding underneath it, and that means your soak time balloons by 30 to 50% for absolutely no reason at all. 10 minutes with a stiff wire brush before the part ever touches the solution is the difference between a job finished overnight and a job that drags into its fourth frustrating day while you keep checking the bucket in disbelief. You're not trying to reach bare metal at this stage. You're only removing what's already detached and stealing your solution's strength for nothing. Skip the brush and you're the one paying the price in wasted hours, wasted molasses, and a growing suspicion that you got scammed by a $2 jar. Number 4. Pull your part too early or too late and you risk undoing everything the chemistry just spent hours accomplishing on your behalf. Watch the solution color closely. Orange tinting appearing in the first 2 hours confirms the reaction is alive and actively working on your part. When that color stops deepening and holds steady for more than 2 hours straight, your window has officially closed and the accessible rust has been fully consumed. Miss that signal on one side and you quit too early with rust still hiding deep in the pits. Miss it on the other side and you oversoak into base metal etching you never wanted or needed. A part left in too long doesn't just waste your time. It starts eating into structurally sound metal that had nothing wrong with it to begin with. Guess wrong here and the exact chemistry that was working in your favor quietly starts working against you instead. Number 3. Flash rust can destroy everything you just accomplished in under 5 minutes flat, and most first-timers have no idea it's even coming for them. The second your part leaves that solution, a residual film of dissolved compounds starts reacting with atmospheric oxygen immediately, and if you don't rinse and dry within that brutally tight window, visible rust reappears on a surface that was completely clean seconds earlier. One machinist restoring vintage hand tools reported nearly half his treated parts developing visible flash rust before he learned the hard way that drying speed matters as much as the soak itself. A 3-stage rinse, pressure rinse, brush scrub, final clean rinse, followed by drying within 5 minutes is non-negotiable if you want to keep what you just earned. Miss this window and every single hour you spent patiently soaking that part becomes wasted time and wasted money in less time than it takes to towel it dry. Number 2. Reaching for the wrong protective coating afterward is a costly mistake that quietly undoes clean bare metal you worked all day to expose. Rust converters need residual rust sitting on the surface to trigger their chemical reaction, and once chelation has stripped your part completely clean down to bare iron, the converter has nothing left to grab onto and cures into a weak, incomplete film that fails faster than a standard primer ever would. Pick the wrong coating here and you'll be back treating the exact same part again within a single season, paying twice for a job that should have only cost you once. Self-etching primer applied within 15 minutes of drying is what actually bonds to that freshly exposed iron surface, creating a chemical interface layer that plain paint over untreated metal simply cannot match. Get this step wrong and every hour of chemistry that came before it gets erased by a coating decision that took you 30 seconds to make. Number 1. Large parts like your vehicle's frame, axle housing, or engine block can't be dunked whole into a barrel, and most people wrongly assume that means they're stuck paying full price for professional treatment anyway. They're not, and this is the step body shops genuinely hope you never discover. Soaked shop rags pressed firmly against the rusted surface and sealed underneath plastic sheeting deliver the exact same chelation chemistry to a frame you could never physically submerge, for a total materials cost sitting between $5 and $15 for the entire vehicle. Owners treating full vehicle frames this way are sidestepping $1,000 blasting quotes entirely, working one surface at a time over a handful of overnight sessions instead of one expensive appointment. Ignore this method and you're paying full sandblasting price for a job a trash bag, some shop rags, and a jar of molasses could have handled from your own driveway. You just watched an entire industry's pricing model get exposed for $2 a jar. Every one of these steps is the difference between a rust nightmare that drains your bank account and a job you finish overnight in your own garage. Subscribe now so you never fall for an overpriced fix again, and drop your location in the comments so we know exactly who's watching before your next repair bill lands. Stick around, because the next video breaks down the protective coating combo that keeps rust from ever coming back.